All right, so welcome to another deep dive with us. Today we're diving into something you might not expect. From a platform known for, it's pretty hardcore technical training.
Okay.
We're talking about emotional intelligence, or EI for programmers.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, we've got this fascinating blog post from Algo Academy, right?
Yeah.
And the thing that's really caught my eye is how they're highlighting the human side of coding. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is intriguing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Algo Academy, that's where you go to like sharpen your coding skills.
Right.
But this focus on EI, I think, suggests kind of a shift in how the industry values like a well-rounded developer.
Yeah.
It's not just about, writing elegant code anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, the article really argues that while technical skills are definitely still super important, EI is becoming like increasingly crucial in today's world. So how about we kind of break down what they're saying?
Yeah, absolutely. So the article dives into Goleman's 5 components of EI.
Okay.
Self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills.
Gotcha.
And what's so fascinating is how each one plays like a surprisingly important role in a programmer's work.
Okay, so let's get specific. Can you give me like an example of how these components actually show up in a programmer's like day-to-day?
Sure, yeah. Let's take self-awareness.
Okay.
So imagine you're debugging a particularly complex piece of code,
Okay.
right? You've been staring at it for hours, and you're starting to get frustrated,
Getting there.
right? So now a programmer with like strong self-awareness can recognize that frustration
Yeah.
and understand how it's impacting their ability to think clearly.
So instead of getting like lost in that spiral of just total frustration, you take a step back, recognize the feeling, and maybe like take a break to clear your head.
Precisely. You're separating the emotion from the problem,
Right.
which allows you to approach that debugging process with like a fresh perspective.
That makes a lot of sense. So self-awareness is kind of like having an internal debugger, right?
Yeah.
For your emotions.
Yes.
You're recognizing those feelings and kind of preventing them from like derailing your entire process.
Exactly. And then self-regulation comes into play.
Yeah.
It's about managing those emotions effectively. Let's say you're working on a team project and there's a disagreement about like the best way to implement a certain feature.
The joys of team coding. It can definitely get a little heated sometimes.
Definitely. A programmer with good self-regulation can stay composed, express their viewpoint calmly, and listen respectfully to their teammates' perspectives,
Right.
even if they disagree.
Yeah.
It's about like having that inner control to navigate those potentially tense situations without letting emotions like hijack the conversation.
So it sounds like self-regulation is about being the captain of your emotional ship, right? Steering it in the right direction, even when the seas get a little rough.
That's a great analogy. And it highlights why these skills are so important in like collaborative environments, which is pretty much every software development team out there.
Yeah.
The article also makes a pretty compelling case for how EI can translate to some real tangible benefits for programmers.
Okay, let's talk about those benefits. What are some of the like EI superpowers that the article highlights?
Well, one of the most significant is like improved collaboration. Think about it. You can have a team of, brilliant coders,
Right.
but if they can't communicate effectively or empathize with each other, their collective output is going to suffer.
It's like having all the ingredients for like an amazing cake, but not knowing how to like mix them together properly.
Yeah.
You just end up with a mess instead of a masterpiece.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But when programmers develop their EI, especially empathy and social skills, they can transform a group of individual coders into a true dream team.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all fits together. So we've got self-awareness, self-regulation, and now we're talking about empathy.
Yeah.
Can you give me like a real-world example of how empathy can actually play out in a coding scenario?
Sure. So imagine you're reviewing a colleague's code, and you come across a section that's like overly complicated or inefficient.
Okay.
Instead of just like pointing out the flaw and moving on, a programmer with like strong empathy would try to understand why the code was written that way.
Right.
Maybe your colleague was under like a tight deadline.
Yeah.
Or perhaps they were trying to solve a problem in like a new and innovative way.
So empathy in this context isn't just about being nice. It's about taking the time to actually understand the other person's perspective
Exactly.
and their thought process.
It's about putting yourself in their shoes
Yeah.
and seeing the code through their eyes.
That's a really valuable skill to have, especially when you're working on like complex projects with a team of people who all have different approaches and like ways of thinking.
Absolutely. And that brings us to another key benefit highlighted in the article: improved communication.
Okay, let's dive into that. Why is communication such a big deal for programmers? I mean, don't they mostly just communicate through their code?
Well, while code is a form of communication in itself,
Right.
programmers also need to communicate effectively with, a variety of people who might not be as technically savvy,
Mm.
like project managers, clients,
Right.
or even other developers who are working on different parts of the project.
Right. It's not like you can just send them like a snippet of code and expect them to understand everything.
Exactly. So having strong communication skills, which are rooted in EI, can make a huge difference in how effectively a programmer can like convey their ideas, explain complex concepts, and just like ensure that everyone is on the same page.
Hmm. This is starting to sound less like, soft skills and more like essential tools for success in the tech world.
That's precisely the point like the article is trying to make. It's not just about, being a coding whiz.
Yeah.
It's about being able to navigate the human side
Mm.
of software development with like finesse.
All right. So we've talked about collaboration and communication. What other benefits does the article mention?
Well, another crucial benefit is enhanced problem-solving abilities.
Interesting. I'm curious to hear more about how EI can actually improve like a programmer's ability to solve problems. Isn't that more about, logic and technical expertise?
Absolutely. Logic and technical expertise are essential for problem solving,
Right.
but EI can enhance those abilities in some surprising ways.
Okay, tell me more. How does EI play into the problem-solving equation?
Think about it this way. When you're working on a particularly challenging problem,
Mm-hmm.
it's easy to get stuck in, like a rut,
Yeah.
especially if you're feeling stressed or frustrated.
Oh, yeah. I've definitely had those moments where I feel like I'm banging my head against a wall.
Exactly.
Okay.
But a programmer with strong EI, particularly self-awareness and self-regulation,
Mm-hmm.
can recognize those negative emotions
Right.
and manage them effectively,
Yeah.
which allows them to approach the problem with like a clearer and more focused mindset.
So instead of like getting bogged down by that frustration, you're able to stay calm, think strategically, and maybe even come up with a more like creative solution.
Precisely. And having empathy can also help with problem solving,
Okay.
especially when you're working on a team.
How so?
Well, if you can understand and appreciate your teammates' perspectives,
Mm-hmm.
you're more likely to come up with solutions that work for everyone involved.
It's like having multiple lenses through which to view the problem,
Mm-hmm.
which can lead to like a more comprehensive and innovative solution.
Exactly. And the article also emphasizes the importance of motivation
Okay.
as a key driver of problem-solving success.
So we're not just talking about like being motivated to finish a task,
Right.
but about like a deeper level of motivation that
Yeah.
comes from like within.
Exactly. A programmer with strong internal motivation is more likely to like persevere through challenges, think outside the box, and ultimately find solutions that are both, effective and elegant.
Right.
They're driven by a genuine desire to learn, grow, and create something truly impactful.
It's that spark of curiosity and passion, right? That keeps them going even when the going gets tough. And, I think that kind of intrinsic motivation is like essential in any field.
Yeah.
But it's especially important in the world of software development where things are constantly changing
Mm-hmm.
and you're always learning something new.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that brings us to another key benefit of EI for programmers: adaptability.
Hmm.
The tech industry is constantly evolving, with new languages, frameworks, and technologies emerging all the time.
Yeah, it's like you're running on a treadmill that keeps speeding up.
Yeah,
And you have to constantly adapt and learn new skills to keep pace.
exactly. And programmers with strong EI are better equipped to like handle those constant changes.
Okay, I can see how that would be beneficial. But how does EI actually make a programmer more adaptable?
Well, for one, programmers with strong self-awareness can recognize when their skills need to be like updated or when they need to, learn something new.
Mm.
They're not afraid to admit they don't know everything,
Right.
and they're willing to seek out new information and experiences.
So it's about having that like growth mindset,
Yeah.
that willingness to embrace challenges and see them as, opportunities for learning rather than threats.
Precisely. And empathy can also play a role in adaptability. If you can understand and appreciate, like, the perspectives of others,
Hmm.
you're more likely to be open to new ideas and approaches, even if they're different from your own.
It's like having a wider field of vision,
Yeah.
which allows you to see like more possibilities and adapt more effectively to changing circumstances.
That's a great way to put it. And the article also highlights the importance of social skills in, like, fostering adaptability.
Okay, how do social skills fit into the picture?
Well, when you have strong social skills, you're better able to, like, build relationships with others,
Hmm.
which can be incredibly valuable in a fast-paced, ever-changing industry like, tech.
Well, it's about networking, building connections, and like being able to tap into those relationships for support and guidance when you need it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And those connections can help you, stay informed about new trends, learn about emerging technologies, and even find new opportunities for, like, growth and development.
So it's not just about what you know,
Right.
it's about who you know and how well you can like connect with others.
Precisely. And that's why the article argues that EI is becoming increasingly important for, like, career advancement in the tech industry.
All right, let's talk about career success. How can EI actually help programmers like climb that career ladder?
Well, we've already talked about how EI can improve collaboration, communication, problem solving, and adaptability,
Right.
all of which are essential for success in, like, any career,
Yeah,
but especially in tech.
right. Those are all qualities that employers are looking for,
Mm.
especially in like leadership roles.
Right.
But how can a programmer actually like demonstrate those EI skills?
That's a great question. And the article provides some, like, really interesting insights into how EI can manifest in a programmer's work and how it can be, like, recognized by others.
Okay, I'm all ears. Give me some specifics.
Okay, one key indicator of strong EI is the ability to, like, give and receive feedback effectively.
Feedback. The dreaded yet essential part of growth and development. How does EI play into that?
Well, a programmer with, like, strong self-awareness can receive feedback without becoming defensive or taking it personally.
Right.
They understand that feedback is an opportunity for growth,
Yeah.
and they're willing to listen and learn from others.
So it's about having that like humility and that willingness to like see yourself through other people's eyes.
Exactly. And a programmer with strong empathy and social skills can give feedback in a way that is, like, constructive, respectful, and helpful.
It's about finding that balance between honesty and like encouragement.
Precisely.
Hmm.
And those are the kind of communication skills that can make a programmer a valuable asset to any team and can definitely catch the attention of those in, like, leadership positions.
So it's not just about writing clean code, it's about being able to like navigate those interpersonal dynamics with grace and effectiveness.
Absolutely. And the article also points out that programmers with strong EI tend to have, like, a positive impact on team morale and productivity.
Okay. I can see how that would be like a major plus. Happy and productive teams get things done. But how can a programmer's EI actually influence the overall team dynamics?
Well, a programmer with, strong social skills and empathy can help create a more positive and collaborative work environment. They're good at building relationships, resolving conflicts, and, like, creating a sense of camaraderie among, team members.
It's like being the glue that holds the team together, making sure everyone feels like supported and valued.
Exactly. And those positive vibes can ripple throughout the entire team, leading to increased productivity, creativity, and, like, job satisfaction.
Like a chain reaction of good energy. And I imagine that kind of like positive impact doesn't go unnoticed by those in management positions.
Absolutely. And the article suggests that programmers with strong EI are more likely to be seen as, like, leadership material.
Makes sense. If you can motivate and inspire others, build strong relationships, and navigate like complex situations with emotional intelligence, you're definitely on the right track for leadership.
Exactly. And the article also points out that EI can be a valuable asset for programmers who are looking to move into, like, more client-facing roles, such as technical consulting or sales engineering.
Oh, yeah, that's a great point. In those roles, you really need to be able to build rapport with clients, understand their needs, and communicate like technical concepts in a way that's clear and engaging.
Precisely. And those are all skills that are rooted in, emotional intelligence.
So it sounds like EI is not just like a nice to have quality for programmers. It's a crucial factor that can actually influence their career trajectory
Yeah.
and open up new opportunities for like growth and advancement.
Exactly. The article makes a compelling case for why programmers should prioritize developing their EI.
Mm-hmm.
And it even offers some, like, practical advice on how to do just that.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. Let's talk about how to actually like level up our EI game. What kind of advice does the article give?
One of the key suggestions is to start incorporating self-reflection into your, like, coding practice.
Self-reflection. So it's not just about like debugging the code. It's about debugging like our own thought processes and emotions. I
Exactly.
like that. It's like turning that analytical mindset, inward and examining our own like internal code. How would a programmer like actually go about doing that?
Well, the article suggests, like, keeping a journal or log where you can reflect on your emotions and, like, thought patterns during different coding scenarios.
Okay.
For example, you could jot down how you felt when you encountered, a particularly challenging bug,
Right.
or how you responded to, like, feedback from a teammate.
Okay, so it's about paying attention to those internal signals
Mm-hmm.
and trying to understand what they're telling us.
Precisely. And by becoming more aware of, like, our own emotional patterns,
Mm-hmm.
we can start to develop strategies for, managing them effectively. The article also talks about the importance of practicing mindfulness while coding.
Mindfulness and coding. Those two things don't usually go together in my mind. Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. Mindfulness is all about being present in the moment,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And paying attention to your thoughts, feelings, and sensations without judgment.
Okay.
And when you apply that to coding, it can help you become more, like, focused,
Mm-hmm.
reduce stress, and even enhance your creativity.
So instead of getting like lost in a whirlwind of thoughts and distractions, you're fully present with the code,
Mhm.
which allows you to work more efficiently and effectively.
Exactly. And the article suggests some, like, simple techniques for incorporating mindfulness into your coding practice,
Hmm.
such as taking a few deep breaths before you start coding,
Mhm.
or setting aside, like, a few minutes each day for a guided meditation.
That makes sense. It's about creating those mental pauses, right?
Yeah.
To clear your head and refocus your attention. And I think mindfulness can be beneficial in any profession, but it seems especially helpful in a field like programming where you're constantly bombarded with information and distractions.
Absolutely. And the article also highlights the importance of uh, seeking feedback from others
Hmm.
and a way to, like, develop your EI.
Feedback again. Okay, I'm starting to see a theme here. But why is feedback so important for developing EI?
Well, it's hard to know how we're coming across to others unless we get feedback.
Right.
And by asking for feedback on, like, our communication style, our interpersonal skills, and even, our emotional awareness, we can get a more objective perspective on how we're doing,
Yeah.
where we can, improve.
It's like holding up a mirror to ourselves and seeing those blind spots that we might not be aware of, on our own.
Exactly. And the article suggests some, like, specific strategies for seeking feedback effectively,
Okay.
such as asking for, like, specific examples rather than, general observations,
Right.
and being open to hearing both, positive and negative feedback.
It's about approaching feedback with like a growth mindset, right?
Yeah.
Seeing it as an opportunity for learning rather than like criticism.
Precisely. And by actively seeking feedback and being open to learning from others, we can continuously develop our EI and become, more effective communicators, collaborators, and leaders.
Okay, this is all starting to make a lot of sense. So we've talked about the benefits of EI for programmers. We've explored the five key components,
Hmm.
and we've even touched on some like practical strategies for developing our EI. What else does the article cover?
Well, one interesting aspect the article explores is the challenge of, like, measuring EI.
That's a good point. It's not like you can just write a program to measure someone's empathy levels.
Right, exactly. EI is like a complex construct, and there's no, single definitive way to measure it.
Yeah.
However, the article does offer some insights into how we can, gauge our progress
Okay.
in developing our EI.
Okay, I'm curious. How can we actually like track our EI development if there's no like clear-cut measurement?
Well, one way is to pay attention to how, like, our interactions with others are changing.
Yeah.
Are we becoming more, effective communicators?
Hmm.
Are we better able to like resolve conflicts? Are
Right.
we building stronger relationships with, our colleagues?
So it's about observing those real world outcomes
Hmm.
and seeing if our efforts are actually translating into like tangible improvements.
Exactly. And the article also suggests that we can look at our own like emotional patterns and see if we're making progress in, areas like self-awareness, self-regulation, and empathy.
Hmm.
Are we becoming more like aware of our emotions? Are we able to, manage our stress and frustration more effectively? Are we becoming more attuned to the emotions of, others?
It's about paying attention to those internal shifts
Hmm.
and recognizing those moments when we're handling things differently than we might have in the past.
Precisely. And while there's no perfect way to like measure EI,
Hmm.
by paying attention to both the, internal and external manifestations of our emotional intelligence, we can get a sense of whether we're moving in like the right direction.
It's like tracking our progress on a like fitness journey.
Yeah.
We might not have a like precise measurement of our overall fitness level,
Uh-huh.
but we can see how like our strength, endurance, and overall well-being are improving over time.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And just like with, physical fitness, developing EI is an ongoing journey, not a destination.
It's about making those consistent efforts to learn, grow, and evolve our emotional intelligence throughout our careers and our lives.
Exactly. And the article also acknowledges that there are some specific challenges that programmers might face when it comes to developing their EI.
Okay, let's talk about those challenges. What are some of the like obstacles that programmers might encounter on their EI journey?
One of the biggest challenges is like the ingrained overemphasis on technical skills in the tech industry.
Right. It's like the focus is all on, algorithms and coding prowess with little attention paid to the human side of software development.
Exactly. And this can create a culture where programmers might feel like they don't have the, the time or the permission
Right.
to prioritize EI development.
Yeah, it's seen as a like nice to have rather than an essential skill.
Precisely.
It's like saying, just write the code and don't worry about all that like messy emotional stuff. But as we've been discussing, emotions are always present,
Yeah.
whether we acknowledge them or not, and they can have a significant impact on our work, our relationships, and our overall well-being.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
by ignoring those emotions, we're essentially limiting our potential as programmers
Right.
and as human beings.
So this obstacle is all about like shifting that mindset,
Yeah.
recognizing that EI is just as important as technical skills,
Yeah.
and making a conscious effort to prioritize its development.
Exactly. It's about breaking free from the misconception that programming is a, purely logical pursuit
Right.
and embracing the fact that we're humans creating technology for other humans.
It's about bringing that like human-centered approach to everything we do.
Precisely. And another obstacle the article highlights is the lack of formal EI training
Right.
in many tech education programs.
That's a really important point. It's like we're given all these amazing tools to build like incredible things,
Yeah.
but not necessarily the tools to build ourselves up as effective collaborators and communicators. Yeah.
Exactly. And that leaves programmers to kind of figure it out on their own,
Right.
which can be challenging,
Yeah.
especially if they're already feeling pressure to, prioritize their technical skills.
So it's not just about overcoming the perception that EI isn't important. It's also about navigating a system that might not provide the resources or the support for developing those skills.
Precisely. And that's why the article encourages programmers to, take ownership of their EI development and seek out resources and opportunities to, learn and grow.
It's about recognizing that EI is not just like a passive quality.
Right.
It's something that we can actively cultivate and develop.
Exactly. And the article even provides some suggestions for where programmers can find resources and like support for their EI journey.
Okay, now I'm really interested. What kind of resources do they recommend?
Well, for one, they suggest seeking out mentors or coaches who can provide guidance and support.
That makes sense. Having someone to talk to who has experience navigating the emotional landscape of the tech world can be incredibly valuable.
Absolutely. And the article also recommends, exploring books, articles, and online courses that focus on like emotional intelligence.
Yeah, there are a lot of great resources out there. It's just a matter of finding the ones that resonate with you and that fit like your learning style.
Exactly. And the article also encourages programmers to like join communities or groups where they can connect with other programmers who are interested in developing their EI.
Yeah, it's about finding those like-minded individuals, right?
Yeah.
Who understand the challenges and rewards of this journey.
Precisely. And by connecting with others, sharing experiences, and like learning from each other,
Hmm.
programmers can create a supportive network that can help them navigate the ups and downs of developing their emotional intelligence.
It's about building that community of support and encouragement, which can make a huge difference in staying motivated and on track.
Absolutely. And it's really interesting. The article doesn't just focus on the individual benefits of developing EI.
Right.
It also explores the potential impact of EI on the tech industry as a whole.
Ooh, that's a big picture perspective I'm excited to hear about. What do they say about the future of EI in tech?
Well, they paint a pretty compelling vision of a future where EI is not just valued,
Hmm.
but actually prioritized in the tech world.
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me more about this EI-driven tech utopia.
Okay, so they envision a future where EI is integrated into like technical training programs,
Mm.
where job descriptions explicitly list emotional intelligence as a desired quality,
Hmm.
and where performance reviews include feedback on, interpersonal skills and emotional awareness.
Wow, that would be a huge shift. It would be like acknowledging that the human element of tech is just as important as the technical side.
Exactly. And they argue that this shift is not just about creating a nicer, more touchy-feely work environment. It's about creating a more effective and innovative, like, tech industry.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. If teams are working together more effectively, communicating more clearly, and approaching problems with like a more holistic mindset,
Yeah,
the quality of the work is bound to improve.
precisely. And the article also suggests that, like, a greater emphasis on EI could lead to more diverse and inclusive tech workplaces.
That's a really important point. If we're valuing empathy, understanding, and communication, we're creating a more like welcoming and supportive environment for people from all backgrounds.
Exactly. And that diversity of perspectives can lead to, like, even more creativity and innovation.
It's like we're tapping into a wider pool of talent and ideas,
Mm-hmm.
which can only benefit the industry as a whole.
Absolutely. And the article even suggests that like a more EI-focused tech industry could have a positive impact on society as a whole.
Wow, now we're talking about like a real paradigm shift. How could a change in the tech industry actually influence society at large?
Well, think about the incredible power and influence that the tech industry has, on our lives.
Yeah.
The technologies we create shape how we communicate, how we learn, how we work, and even how we, think.
It's true. It's woven into the fabric of our daily lives in so many ways.
Exactly. And the article argues that if the tech industry is driven by, values like empathy, compassion, and understanding,
Hmm.
those values will be reflected in the technologies, we create.
So instead of just focusing on efficiency and functionality,
Right.
we'll be designing technologies that are more like human-centered,
Mm-hmm.
more ethical, and more aligned with our like values as a society.
It's a really inspiring vision. It's like we're not just, coding for the sake of coding. We're coding for like a better world.
Exactly. And the article concludes by challenging programmers to like embrace the power of EI.
And become agents of change in the tech industry and beyond.
It's a call to action for programmers to like step up and use their skills and talents to create a more human-centered technological future.
Precisely, it's about recognizing that our code has the power to shape the world, and with greater emotional intelligence, we can ensure that it shapes it for the better.
It's a powerful message that resonates deeply with me. And as we kind of wrap up this exploration of EI, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought-provoking question.
Okay.
Imagine a future where emotional intelligence is as highly valued in the tech industry as technical expertise. What would that look like, and what role can you play in making that happen?
That's a powerful question to ponder.
Hey.
And it invites us to envision a tech landscape where technical brilliance is not enough, where the ability to connect, empathize, and communicate effectively is seen as essential for individual and collective success.
It's about moving beyond the stereotype of the lone wolf coder, right?
Mhm.
And embracing a more human-centered approach to building technology.
Exactly.
Imagine job descriptions that list, empathy, self-awareness, and collaboration skills alongside programming languages and technical proficiencies.
Hmm.
Imagine performance reviews that evaluate not just your code output, but also your ability to, inspire and motivate your team.
And think about the impact on company culture. If emotional intelligence is truly valued, wouldn't we see more supportive, inclusive, and collaborative work environments?
Absolutely. It would foster a culture where everyone feels heard and respected,
Mm.
where differences are celebrated, and where individual growth is nurtured. It would create a space where programmers can not only excel technically, but also thrive emotionally.
And wouldn't that kind of environment lead to more innovative and impactful technology? If teams are working together more harmoniously, understanding each other's perspectives and approaching problems with a more holistic mindset, wouldn't we see a surge in creativity and problem solving? I think so. It's about recognizing that the best solutions often emerge from, diverse perspectives and collaborative efforts. And when emotional intelligence is woven into the fabric of the tech industry, it creates the fertile ground for those collaborations to flourish.
This all sounds incredibly inspiring, but how do we actually get there? What
Mm.
can individual programmers do to, help create this more emotionally intelligent tech future?
It starts with each of us taking ownership of our own EI development.
Hmm.
It's about recognizing that emotional intelligence is not a fixed trait.
Right.
It's a set of skills that we can learn, practice, and continuously improve upon.
So it's about making a conscious effort to cultivate those skills, like setting aside time for self-reflection,
Mhm.
practicing mindfulness, seeking feedback from others, and actively working on improving our communication and empathy.
Exactly. It's about incorporating those practices into our daily lives, both at work and beyond.
Hmm.
It's about embracing the journey of becoming more emotionally intelligent individuals.
Yeah. And as we individually grow, our collective efforts can create a ripple effect throughout the tech industry.
Absolutely. It's about setting a new standard, demonstrating that emotional intelligence is not a soft skill, but a superpower that can transform individuals, teams, and even entire companies.
It's about leading by example and inspiring others to, to join this movement towards a more human-centered tech future.
And it's about recognizing that we all have a role to play in shaping this future, whether you're a seasoned developer, a recent coding bootcamp graduate, or just someone with a passion for technology. Your commitment to emotional intelligence can make a difference.
It's a call to action for all of us to become more aware, more empathetic, and more intentional in our interactions with others and in technologies we create.
It's about recognizing that technology is a powerful tool, and with greater emotional intelligence, we can wield that tool to build a better world for ourselves and future generations.
That's a powerful message to end on. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into emotional intelligence for programmers.
It's been a pleasure exploring this important topic with you.
And to all of you listening out there, remember that your journey towards greater emotional intelligence starts today. Embrace the challenge, seek out resources, connect with others, and never stop learning and growing.
Because the future of tech is in your hands.
Until next time, keep coding, keep feeling, and keep striving to make a positive impact on the world.
More human-centered, right?
Hmm.
More ethical and more aligned with our values as a society.
Precisely. And that could have a profound impact on everything from how we address issues like climate change and social justice to, how we create a more equitable and sustainable future for all.
Yeah, it's a really inspiring vision. It's like we're not just coding for the sake of coding. We're coding for a better world.
Exactly. And the article concludes by challenging programmers to embrace the power of EI and become, agents of change in the tech industry and beyond.
It's a call to action for programmers to step up and use their skills and talents to create a more human-centered technological future.
Yeah.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that our code has the power to shape the world. And with greater emotional intelligence, we can ensure that it shapes it for the better.
That's a powerful message that resonates deeply with me. And as we kind of wrap up this exploration of EI, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought-provoking question. Imagine a future where emotional intelligence is as highly valued in the tech industry as technical expertise. What would that look like? And what role can you play in making that happen?
That's a powerful question to ponder. It invites us to envision a tech landscape where technical brilliance is not enough, where the ability to connect, empathize, and communicate effectively is seen as essential for individual and collective success.
It's about moving beyond the stereotype of the lone wolf coder, right? And embracing a more human-centered approach to building technology.
Exactly. Imagine job descriptions that list, empathy, self-awareness, and collaboration skills alongside programming languages and technical proficiencies.
Hmm.
Imagine performance reviews that evaluate not just your code output, but also your ability to, inspire and motivate your team.
And think about the impact on company culture, right? If emotional intelligence is truly valued, wouldn't we see more supportive, inclusive, and collaborative work environments?
Absolutely. It would foster a culture where everyone feels heard and respected,
Yeah.
where differences are celebrated, and where individual growth is nurtured. It would create a space where programmers can not only excel technically, but also thrive emotionally.
And wouldn't that kind of environment lead to more innovative and impactful technology? If teams are working together more harmoniously, understanding each other's perspectives, and approaching problems with a more holistic mindset, wouldn't we see a surge in creativity and problem solving?
I think so. It's about recognizing that the best solutions often emerge from, diverse perspectives and collaborative efforts. And when emotional intelligence is woven into the fabric of the tech industry, it creates the fertile ground for those collaborations to flourish.
This all sounds incredibly inspiring, but how do we actually get there? What can individual programmers do to, help create this more emotionally intelligent tech the future?
It starts with each of us taking ownership of our own EI development. It's about recognizing that emotional intelligence is not a fixed trait. It's a set of skills that we can learn, practice, and continuously improve upon.
So it's about making a conscious effort to cultivate those skills, like setting aside time for self-reflection, practicing mindfulness, seeking feedback from others, and actively working on improving our communication and empathy.
Exactly. It's about incorporating those practices into our daily lives,
Hmm.
both at work and beyond. It's about embracing the journey of becoming more emotionally intelligent individuals.
And as we individually grow, our collective efforts can create a ripple effect throughout the tech industry.
Absolutely. It's about setting a new standard, demonstrating that emotional intelligence is not a soft skill, but a superpower that can transform individuals, teams, and even entire companies.
It's about leading by example and inspiring others to join this movement towards a more human-centered tech future.
And it's about recognizing that we all have a role to play in shaping this future. Whether you're a seasoned developer, a recent coding bootcamp graduate, or just someone with a passion for technology, your commitment to emotional intelligence can make a difference.
It's a call to action for all of us to become more aware, more empathetic, and more intentional in our interactions with others and in the technologies we create.
It's about recognizing that technology is a powerful tool, and with greater emotional intelligence, we can wield that tool to build a better world for ourselves and future generations.
That's a powerful message to end on. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into emotional intelligence for programmers.
It's been a pleasure exploring this important topic with you.
And to all of you listening out there, remember that your journey towards greater emotional intelligence starts today. Embrace the challenge, seek out resources, connect with others, and never stop learning and growing.
Because the future of tech is in your hands.
Until next time, keep coding, keep feeling, and keep striving to make a positive impact on the world.